I said that, and I don't know. Hi, good evening. This is Muriel Kramer, Chair of the Hopkinton Select Board, welcoming you to the Select Board meeting of December 5th, 2023. I call the meeting to order. This meeting of the Hopkinton Select Board is being held both in person and remotely using the video conference platform Zoom. All members who are attending are in the meeting room, participating in the meeting, are present in the meeting room. The public does have the option of attending in person here at Town Hall or via Zoom using the link posted in this meeting's agenda. This meeting is being recorded. Can I just verify that we don't have anybody on the Zoom? Okay, thank you. So our first order of business, I move to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 3, to consider strategy with respect to negotiations with the fire union pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 6, to consider the purchase, lease, sale, or value of real estate in relation to properties in the vicinity of Town Hall and South Street and parcels owned by Umina off Chestnut Street, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the board. Approval of executive session minutes to allow Norman Camalo and Elaine Lazarus to participate in the executive session, to reconvene an open session at the conclusion of executive session. We need a second. Second. All those in favor by roll call. Mary Jo?
Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes.
And Muriel Pacheco.
Muriel Kramer, yes. And we will reconvene an open session at 6:30. Welcome back. I'm reconvening the Select Board meeting in open session, and I call the meeting to order. We start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, as always, our first order of business is public forum. Please note that each person will have up to 2 minutes to speak at public forum. Please start, if you are coming forward, by stating your name and address. Is there anybody in the meeting room here for public forum? Do we have anybody on Zoom, Ben? No.
Sandy, hands raised.
Okay. Mary Jo, did you want to say something?
Yes, I do. Just as a public member, I just wanted to express my condolences to the family of Eddie Mills. Eddie was an assessor here in town and a constable for a while, and he did a lot of things in general out there in the public, and a lot of things people didn't know about it. He was kind of a special individual, kind of a character, but yes, a very special person. And he passed away this week, or last week. End of last week, and I just wanted to acknowledge his work and service to the town.
Thank you. And I did have one thing that I wanted to say as well. We did have a public statement in response to learning yesterday that the town of Hopkinton recently received a fraudulent invoice from hopnews.com that was unfortunately processed and subsequently paid. We have taken appropriate steps to correct for the mistake and cancel the payment. We have further taken the steps to ensure our review processes for like payments are reinforced to protect our employees and the town from similar fraudulent activity in the future. We want to be clear that we have full confidence in our employees, and we will be pursuing appropriate legal recourse to protect the town in the future from fraudulent activities. We take this very seriously, and we stand behind our employees. We value them, we trust them, and we respect them. And we have full confidence in our employees in Town Hall and around town. Thank you. Okay, our next item of business is the consent agenda. The Select Board will consider the following minutes from the meeting of November 7th and November 13th. Resignation of Kirta Dipala from the Cultural Council with regret and appreciation. Approve an escrow agreement. The Select Board will consider approving an escrow agreement for the deed to a 20.96 acre open space parcel to be conveyed to the town on Whisper Way, pending acceptance of the gift of land at the May 24th, 2024 annual town meeting. Town Council has reviewed the escrow agreement, and there are no outstanding issues. To accept a gift, accepting a donation of $50 from Barbara Kelly to the Fire Department's ambulance fund in memory of George Thorson Jr., and the ABCC seasonal population estimate. The Select Board will review and consider approving a seasonal population estimate of 18,893 for 2024. The estimate is an annual requirement of the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, ABCC, and is based on the 2020 U.S. Census data. So unless anybody wants to break an item out, I will entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved. Oh, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Next on the agenda is town employee appointments. Mr. Kamalo.
Thank you. With the chair's permission, I would like to recognize Christine Merrill. And Christine will start with Augusto de Oliveira.
Come on forward.
And Dave Del Torio.
Welcome.
I'm respectfully requesting the board confirm the town manager's appointment of Augusto de Oliveira as our next custodial maintenance worker in the facilities department. He will be replacing Akil Reed, working under the direct supervision of the facilities manager. Augusto will perform routine custodial, building and grounds maintenance, oversight of custodial activities for town buildings, and perform minor semi-skilled building repairs. And we're very confident that Augusto will deliver. Here's why. The references revealed that Augusto works very well under pressure. We're very busy here in Hopkinton, we should say. He works extremely well in a fast-paced environment, and did so especially when you worked in the food industry. You were described to us as having a strong work ethic and a go-to attitude and positive outlook, and that came out very clearly during the interview process as well. Other references described Augusto as trustworthy, hardworking, and calm under pressure. And when we dug into your strengths, one of your references said you're very responsible and diligent. You're always looking for the next job, and I can tell you Dave will have 10 more extra jobs for you. Our interview panel included Vasuda, Dave, and Christine, and at this point I will let Christine or Dave add anything to our introduction of Augusto to the community.
All right, and just for the record, Augusto prefers to be called Gus. We had 6 candidates who applied for the position. We interviewed 3 and selected Gus for the position. Dave?
I just want to thank Vasuda, Kristen, HR for the support, filling the position. It's probably been open for 6 to 7 months. Been hard to find good candidates, and I was confident when we interviewed Gus, he's going to fit in well here. Help out, which with facilities department needs quite a bit of help right now. So welcome aboard, and thanks to everybody who helped out.
Well, welcome. It is our custom to softly grill you when you come before us, just to welcome you to town and make sure, hopefully make sure you feel very welcome. Maybe you can just tell us a little bit about what interests you in working for the town of Hopkinton in this way.
Like I said before, it's a growing town, and I was looking for something steady and serious. And I'm hoping to change a little bit, and hoping to do my best to work with Dave and to help the town grow more.
Great. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
I'll just echo the same. We're very glad to have you, and municipal government is very stable work, and I hope you'll be happy here.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you here. I know that all of these jobs add up to a big job, so very happy to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to confirm the town manager's appointment of Gus D'Oliveira as custodial maintenance worker in the facilities department.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations and welcome. If you'll stay, we'll subject you further to a photograph at the end after we do the next appointment. We'd love to do that. All right.
And next is Kali Moniz. I'm respectfully requesting the board confirm the town manager's appointment of Kali Moniz as Hopkinton's next children's librarian. You, in fact, will be replacing Andrea, who is sitting right next to you. Andrea was promoted to youth services supervisor. What does a children's librarian do here in Hopkinton? Position works under the direction of the Youth Services Supervisor, providing general library services for young library users, and provide special library services such as story time, crafts, summer reading, and other creative programming to promote reading and enhance the lives of young library users. This is really a special position in the library, as it is the first entry into the library system for our young children. Kali is joining us with extensive experience, having worked for Wayland Public Library for 6 years, Corey Memorial Library in Lexington, Whitman Public Library, and also worked as a nanny, demonstrating your commitment to young children. You have a bachelor's degree in communication, a master's degree in children's literature, and a master's degree in library and information science. References described you as warm, kind, professional, and approachable. You were referred to as a programming phenomenon, very creative, and you know how to build excitement. When we asked about your values, we were told that in your roles, you have emphasized inclusivity. Other references stated that you have a passion for literacy. You are ready to be a children's librarian in a thriving, busy library, which is what Hopkinton is. The first round interview panel, I will let Christine speak to that with the chair's permission.
Thank you, through the chair. Our first round panel consisted of Jack Miller, young adult librarian, Andrea Calibri, youth services librarian, and Jessica Leverance, benefits administrator. And second round panel was Dawn Alcott Miller, Youth and Family Services Director, Andrea again, Nancy Hill, the Library Services Director, and myself. We had 6 candidates who applied. We interviewed 3 and narrowed it down to 2 for second round and selected Carly.
Well, wonderful. It was a personal pleasure to read your letter of interest. I so appreciate all the values that you shared in that letter and your interest in our town because of those values, and that just really is, we're a town that has prioritized working towards making sure that we are a welcoming community. We really appreciate that as we welcome you. That's a piece of what drew you to us. Don't want to let you off the hook without grilling you with a question or two on TV. No pressure. But tell us a little bit about your journey to Hopkinton. What are you most excited about in terms of being here in Hopkinton and in this new role?
I'm just so excited that to be with a very busy library, a library that is being really proactive about offering such a range of services to everybody in the community. A couple years ago, I moved closer by. I live in the town of Upton, so I'm sort of like right up the street. So I'm excited to kind of ingratiate myself into the community here.
Wonderful. Now that I have grandkids, I may be by and take advantage of that nostalgia, getting my sillies out someday with you.
Please do.
Yeah. Anybody else questions?
Well, I noticed on the first line here that you developed a story time for babies and kids up to 5. I hope it's including 5, but and I was a big proponent of story hours when my kids were that age. We went to the library all the time for the program, and I thought maybe we had done away with it for COVID. So I'm really hoping to bring that back in a big way. It was a good program, and I welcome you to Hopkinton.
I'll just echo what Mary Jo said. We really have a lot of young little kids in Hopkinton, and apparently the story hours are overflowing, and trying to redirect them to park in the new parking lot because people don't know about the new parking lot yet. So anyway, we're very glad to have you and have the position filled, and that you have the experience with the programming for the young age groups. That's what's really
We should
needed.
have some story hours with like town leaders and town volunteers. We could support, spread the wealth. I love a good story hour, frankly. So welcome. We're really excited to have you here. And I will entertain a motion to confirm the town manager's appointment of Carly Moniz as children's librarian at the Hopkinton Public Library.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Welcome. So now comes the best part. We all gather around for a big group picture. And sometimes Mr. Kamalo and Mrs. Lazarus try not to be in the picture, but we don't allow it. We can come right up. Yep, come on up. Oh, yeah, everybody. So you're right in the middle. Here we go. It's right before. Yeah, uh-oh, yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, no, you think, you think that's going to happen, but no. Nice try, nice try. Great, thank you all. Thank you. Welcome. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Makes you want to go back to the library, doesn't it? Oh, my goodness, my favorite part of this package is this spreadsheet. But here we go.
And the page after the spreadsheet.
I know.
Explained in a letter format.
I know, which helps me. I panicked at first. Okay, our next order of business is the 2024 Boston Marathon Invitational Random Distribution. Select Board will distribute marathon invitational entries to qualified applicants for the 2024 Boston Marathon in accordance with its adopted policy, which we settled on a meeting or so ago. So, Mr. Kamalo, do you want to explain this magical operation, or do you want me to? Oh, no, I really, that was me saying, go ahead.
I'll do it. Through the chair, as we reported previously, the town received 65 invitational entries from the Boston Athletic Association. And at a public meeting, the select board agreed on a process to invite applications from town departments, boards and committees that perform marathon functions, and registered non-profit organizations undertaking public service activities within the town of Hopkinton. We received from town departments applications for a total of 29 invitational entries, and the applications came from 6 town departments and 3 town committees, giving a total of 9. So we have 9 town-related departments requesting 23 entries. For the benefit of the public at home, the departments include the Hopkinton Police Department, applying for 7, the Hopkinton Fire Department, applying for 1, the Hopkinton Senior Center, applying for 2, the Hopkinton Public Library for 1, the Hopkinton Marathon Committee for 6.
I have to interrupt you there for a minute. Dorothy Ferreter talked to me this afternoon, and she said they're fine with 5.
Okay, thank
This
you.
was their original request, and she said they're fine with that.
Thank you. The Veteran Celebration Committee applied for 1. Hopkinton High School, the BPA Robotics for 1, and the Hopkinton High School for 2, and then the Hopkinton Senior and Disabled Tax Relief Committee, which does a great service in the community, applied for 2. On the non-profit organizations slot, we had an application for a total of 61 entries submitted by 40 registered non-profit organizations. Again, 40 organizations applying for 61. I should mention that the application by 40 nonprofits marks an increase in the interest in the numbers by town organizations, which is remarkable. They include Sophie's Hope Foundation, applying for 2, Hopkinton Education Foundation, applying for 1, Hopkinton Music Association for 1, Baypath Humane Society for 1, Hopkinton Girls Youth Lacrosse for 2, Hopkinton Women's Club for 1, Hopkinton's Boys Youth Lacrosse for 1, Friends of Hopkinton CPAC 1, Project Just Because 2, Hopkinton Food Pantry 2, Lake Maspenock Preservation Association 1, Hopkinton Little League 1, Live for Evan Inc. 2, Hopkinton Freedom Team 1, Hopkinton Public Library Foundation for 2, Hopkinton Masonic Benevolent Fund for 1, Community Foundation for Metro West 2, Hopkinton Country Club Charitable Foundation 1, the Michael Lisno Respite Center for 2, the Friends of Hopkinton Seniors for 2, the Hopkinton Public Library Friends for 2, the Hopkinton Youth Field Hockey for 1, the Keep Smiling for Abby Foundation for 2, the Troop for Hopkinton plus Hopkinton Scout Leaders Association plus Troop 1 plus Troop 11 applying for 3, Spina Bifida Association of Greater New England 2, Hopkinton Garden Club for 1, Hopkinton Historical Society for 1, Demons Youth Hockey for 1, Friends of Hopkinton Inc. 2, South Asia Circle of Hopkinton Inc. 1, Hopkinton Lions Club 1, eHop 1, Dignity Matters 1, Hopkinton Emergency Fund 2, National Brain Tumor Society 2, Hopkinton Parent Teachers Organization 2, Mental Health Collaborative Inc. 2, Hopkinton Area Land Trust Hold 1, the 21st Annual Sharon Timlin Event, A Race to Cure ALS 2, and finally, Kentis Underdog Scholarship for 1. Again, we had 40 entrants or applicants, which represents an increase in the number of entities in town requesting entries. We are proposing the following options for the board's consideration. If the board agrees that there are non-responsive town departments and 40 responsive registered non-profit applications, it could first distribute the 19 invitational entries to town departments as follows. The Hopkinton Police Department, 7. The Hopkinton Fire Department, 1. The Hopkinton Senior Center, 1. The Hopkinton Public Library, 1. The Hopkinton Marathon Committee, 5. The Veterans Celebration Committee, 1. Hopkinton Public Schools, 2, of which Hopkinton High School BPA Robotics gets 1, and Hopkinton High School receives the other. The Hopkinton Senior and Disabled Tax Relief Committee, 1. This proposed distribution is based again on last year's allocation. Then, if the board agrees with this option, the board may consider issuing 1 entry to each of the responsive non-profit organizations. This means that the board will allocate 40 entries, 1 each, to each organization. This then leaves the remaining 6. And if the board is inclined with this plan, then the fun begins. How does the board distribute the remaining 6 entries? We've offered 2 options. The board could hold a random distribution for all the responsive applicants, which means town departments and nonprofits, who requested, this is the qualifier, who requested more than the above proposed allocations. This includes 19 nonprofit organizations and 4 town departments. In the memo that we shared with the board ahead of this meeting and was also included in the meeting packet, we identify each of these organizations. The second option is to hold a random distribution for only the 19 responsive nonprofit organizations. This then leaves out the town departments. So if the board is inclined to agree with the proposed random distribution system, we have cut small pieces of papers that have the names of the town departments, and then in this booklet we have the names of the nonprofit organizations.
Okay. I would like to propose, a wrinkle in this. Just tiny, tiny, tiny wrinkle. I noticed, I would just like to consider the Hopkinton Senior and Disabled Tax Relief Committee requested 2, and they got 1, and that particular committee does really important work and has a really substantial need at this time. So I would entertain starting off with them receiving the 2 that they asked for, making the town departments 20, and we would then have 5 additional entries to award, and I would propose drawing out of the qualifying nonprofits. That's my suggestion.
And not the other town departments.
Correct.
I am leaning more towards, I can go either way, but I'm leaning more towards option 1 where we put everyone in. So I would put everyone in the jar and pick 6. And I know last year I really wanted that we would kind of choose, but that was because not everybody was going to get a number at all, but now that everyone's gotten a number, I'm okay with a random draw, but I don't feel strongly. And I do agree that the Tax Relief Committee really does need funds.
I feel that all these town committees, whatever they've asked for, is what they need, because some of them is distributed to people who come and work for the marathon, like police from out of town, and they want their number. And same thing with the marathon committee. They have certain people that come in and do work on that day that need to get their number. So, and I don't think any of these are out of line compared to what I've used to see, but it's 22.
That's only 1 difference. So it would be 21, all 21 requested, because the Hopkinton Marathon Committee has reduced their request to 5, right?
So it's 22, I think, isn't it? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16, 17, 18,
I have it wrong.
21, 23. So now it's 23 altogether.
Yeah, you're right. One more.
And I think those are all legitimate,
Three.
very legitimate.
Okay. I'm willing to be wrong, but that's 22 because still the Marathon Committee is only requesting 5 even though it's listed at 6.
But we're adding one to the Tax Relief Committee.
They requested 2. We're just making sure we satisfy
Okay,
the
well, I got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 5. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 if we give 3 to the high school.
Yep.
22, 23, 2 to the,
7, 8, 10, 11, 16, 17, 20, 22. Okay. You said 23 or 22?
I said 23. 7 and 1 is 8, 9, 10,
19 plus
11, and 5 is 16, 17, the robotics, 18, 3 requested for the high school, 19, 20, 21, and the senior, 22, 23.
So the Hopkins Public Schools is a total of 3, not plus the robotics, right? Is that where I'm wrong?
I thought it was a plus, but I'm not,
So
It's 3 total.
it's 3 total, I think.
Okay, so that's 22.
Okay. So if we do 22, all town departments get the requests that they ask for, departments and committees.
Yeah.
One for each of the 40.
If
Yes.
if I may,
Yeah.
3, Hopkinton Senior Center,
Yes.
1, they requested 2.
Yes. Right. I think we counted for that. So that's 22, but definitely double check us. We don't want to be foolish about that.
22.
Okay, 22. That's what I thought. Plus 40, 1 to each applying qualifying organization is 62. So we have 3, right? Now, if we have fully satisfied the requests from town departments and committees, are you comfortable selecting the last 3 from the other applicants?
I am.
I am.
Okay, that's what we're going to do. Have somebody from the audience select for us.
Well, they're all,
Oh, they're all applicants.
yes.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Yep.
We have to check, make sure your hands are not sticky.
That's true. You should. You should. That's very, very clever, Norman. All right, first one is Hopkinton Emergency Fund.
Oh, that's a good one.
So that's one right there. The next one, Sophie's Hope Foundation.
Excuse me?
Sophie's Hope.
Oh, Sophie's. Okay, yeah?
Requested 2. And then the last one, shake it up. Should we get 1 here? Troop 4, Hopkinton. Hopkinton Scout Leaders Association. Troop 1 plus Troop 11. We requested 3.
Great. Perfect. Thank you very much. So I will entertain a motion to distribute the charity bibs in the way we just discussed. 22 to town boards and committees, and town departments and committees, and every organization that applied gets 1, and 3 additional organizations get an additional 1. The Hopkinton Emergency Fund, Sophie's Hope Fund, and Troop 4 Hopkinton. That's in collaboration with the other troops, 11 and 1.
Though it's a long name, I believe it's the Hopkinton Scout Leaders Association, which incorporates all the troops.
Perfect, perfect, that's what we meant. Okay. Anybody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And it should be noted how much we appreciate the BAA for making sure that we get those bibs, and so many of them this year, and all those organizations and boards and committees with all that incredible energy for running 26.2 miles and raising all that money. So,
And in fact, if I may, to that end, raising that money.
Yes.
Over the years, the town has looked into opportunities to support the organizations that are doing the fundraising, with an effort towards building their institutional capacity for fund development. I am pleased to share that we may have found a solution in the name of the 26.2 Foundation, offering its resources and its networks to help the organizations here in Hopkinton in their fundraising efforts. And with the chair's permission, we'd like to ask the 26.2 Foundation to elaborate on the proposal.
Certainly. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tim Kilduff. I'm the president of the 26.2 Foundation and are aware of the work and appreciate the work that you did in terms of the distribution of these numbers. Kelly Grill, you know, from the Hopkins Center for the Arts, and I'm pleased to introduce Kim Chisholm, who is the Vice President for Advancement and Development for the 26.2 Foundation. But we have conjured up a training session to help all the people who have received those very precious bibs. The demand on the bibs this year, the entries, has really increased a lot for a number of reasons. So there are people out there that when you ask them to raise $5,000, $6,000, there are people that can do that and exceed that. But I wanted Kim to just take you through, just very quickly, the panel that she's put together. And we're going to start this process next week, now that you've distributed the entries. And then Kelly will talk a little, just briefly, about some of the collaboration that's taking place between the Foundation, the Hopkins Center of the Arts, in conjunction with the Marathon Committee.
So the panel that we put together is going to come together, share best practices, ideas, really to help our entire community raise as much money as possible for organizations. So Russ White, the president and CEO of the White Foundation, is going to be joining us. I'm familiar with the White Foundation and their tremendous efforts in fundraising. Also, a former colleague of mine, Siobhan Dunn from St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, will also be joining us. Her role, part of her role now, is she works with 400 plus runners all across New England who raise money running races all across the country for St. Jude. So she has a lot of great tips and tricks. And then Amy Pepe, who is a fundraising and development consultant, and she's also an excellent charity runner. So she'll be able to share what's worked for her to help her raise money when she has runners for an organization. The goal is for people to be able to leave with tips, tricks in hand, ready to go, and fundraise as much as possible this year.
Awesome. So you said the efforts are going to start next week. What does that mean for actual runners?
Yeah, so this will be for the organizations that have received entries. We're hosting it at Startline on December 12th at 6 p.m. A notice will go out to those organizations who've received numbers, and my information is on there, so they can contact me and have any questions.
So you are actually working with the organizations, not the runners. It is actually the runner's responsibility to do the fundraising, right? Okay. All right. So
But if they've already picked their runner could come to the fundraising too, right?
well, that's the question, obviously.
Absolutely, yep. And this is an opportunity for those organizations to be able to say to their runners, here are the resources we're going to provide to you so you can be successful.
Awesome.
We'll do a second phase, including the runners afterwards. The pressure to raise money is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
The official charities out of the from the BAA started in October.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit behind the schedule, but we think we can bring the organizations up, and then we'll follow through with training for individual runners.
So it kind of brings up a question. Why is it so late for us for numbers? Do we have do all the cities and towns get them at this time, or what's?
They do, and my understanding is that they do, and I can not to tell tales out of school, but the town manager and all of us have been pretty aggressive in pushing. So actually, Hopkins is a little bit ahead of the schedule of the other cities and towns.
And
But
that is hard.
next year, your point is well taken, and that's something that we ought to all collectively push on next year.
So I have done this myself. I've done the Susan
Yes.
G. Komen a few times, and it's a lift. And the second year I did it, two of my daughters said, we want to do it too. And I'm like, great, but that's also all on me, right? So it's a lot. But when I've done some of those, I do the Jimmy Fund too quite often. There's an extended period of time whereby they can do the fundraising. Is that also true for Boston Marathon bib holders?
The individual charities have different criteria, but you now raise a very interesting point. One of the things that Kim has had a lot of experience in, and we have as well, the foundation has, is to get these runners to sign a contract. It sounds a little,
No, I had to.
yeah.
No, a lot of organizations do require
I had
that.
to.
That's the kind of stuff that we're going to be able to, that this panel is going to be able to get into next week. And it's going to be ongoing. It's not a one-shot deal. Because once we get I just want to repeat one more time, the demand on these entries is pretty high.
And for all the right reasons, right? And it's a wonderful opportunity, and we're grateful for all the opportunities all the organizations and charity runners have to raise money for this and run 26 miles. God bless them. But okay.
There's an applicant with their hand up.
Oh, sure.
Doris?
Doris?
Yes, Doris Early. I'm president of the Hopkinton Women's Club, and unfortunately on Zoom I could not hear anything that Kim said about the proposed meeting next week.
So what's the
So hold on one second. Can you move that microphone over? Maybe it's the microphone? Thank you for letting us know, Doris. Please repeat about the meeting next week.
Sure. So we have created a community fundraising panel. It's going to be next Tuesday, the 12th at 6 p.m. at Startline Brewing. And the goal of the meeting is to bring together a panel who can share best practices, resources, tools, tips, and tricks to help their marathon teams be successful in their fundraising.
Did that come across, Doris?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
May I might add that with your approval, we've created a flyer. Masuda, I understand, will be contacting all of these organizations tomorrow, and if that flyer could be included, that would be really helpful.
And where's that flyer?
Right on the corner.
So awesome. Kelly, did you have anything to say? You're uncharacteristically reserved. Nothing.
I know. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to let you know that the 26.2 Foundation and the HCA are partnering, collaborating on a number of initiatives in celebration of the 100th year of the start of the marathon here in Hopkinton. We're going to be meeting with the Marathon Committee next week to engage them and inform them of our plans, and we really are looking forward to very soon unveiling a number of initiatives as part of the celebration next year. So just wanted to make you aware.
Great. That was going to be my question, is making sure you're collaborating with the Marathon Committee as well. So, wonderful. Anyone have any questions?
Nope, I don't think so. It's great.
Okay. Do you don't need a vote on this, do you?
Thank you for your time.
Okay, have a good night, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Street acceptance is the next.
The next item of business is the Select Board Budget Listening Session.
I thought it was Box Mill Road.
7 p.m. Okay, Mr. Kamala, what's your vision?
Yes. Over the years, the board has emphasized and focused on building a participatory budget process, one where there's an opportunity to hear from the public directly on the priorities and needs of the community. This process has taken many forms, ranging from meetings with stakeholders, holding office hours here at Town Hall, and also inviting comments on the budget priorities and needs at select board meetings. And tonight is one such opportunity, and there will be many more, where the board will invite the public and more or less have an open mic session where members of the public will speak to their thoughts, suggestions, and observations regarding the budget. That's the goal tonight.
Okay,
Open mic session.
open mic session. Do we have anybody on Zoom, Ben, that is raising their hand that might like to say something about the budget? Anybody in the room? Okay, so you know what I'm thinking? Can we put this as a standing agenda item right behind public comment? And make sure everybody knows that at every meeting leading up to the budget, we'll have an opportunity for the public to come forward and share their priorities, their concerns, or ask their questions. We really do hope that the general public, the interested public, will get more involved in the budget conversations. They're going to be more challenging going forward, and also the addition of the participatory budget items is really exciting to most of us. It's an opportunity for people to put forward proposals to dedicate a certain amount of money to ideas that the rest of us may not have come up with, that may not be on the typical capital budget. So do we know how much money we're hoping to have available for participatory budgeting purposes?
At this point, no, we don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we know when we might, because we sent out a form last year that people could fill out, I think. Do we know approximately when that would be this year?
We have been waiting for the free cash certification process to unfold. It will give us an idea as to whether we have funding for that component of the budget or not.
Okay.
That process.
Because I think, like Muriel, people have been approaching me about some little things, and I'm like, well, there could be this opportunity where you could, this little thing that you want, maybe we can fit it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have an update on the free cash timeline, the free cash certification timeline? Do we have it?
Not exactly. However, what we were told is that the State Bureau of Accounts is focusing right now on the tax recap. So they want to set the tax rates for all other communities, and then we'll shift gears to free cash.
Okay, so much more to come, but as always, we are interested in what people's priorities, questions, and concerns are.
Chair Muriel, is it okay before you move on to this to do the public discussion about the budget thing, the listening session? I mean, or do you want to table that?
Nope,
Yeah,
nope.
I just have
Yep.
one quick suggestion.
Yep.
May I approach?
Yep,
Thank you.
you must approach, actually.
Hi, Peter Thomas, 215 Pond Street. And just in terms of, I know that we don't have a finalized number at this point, but what would be really important to folks that live on Pond, West Elm, and School Street to some extent. You're all aware that the Community Covenant Church was sold to a new organization, and they do prayer services on Fridays. And so what ends up happening, they draw a lot of folks in, and there's not enough parking there. And so what they're doing is they're parking along the street there on West Elm now. And a friend of mine's daughter was driving home the other night and almost had a near head-on collision with a car coming the other way around the corner. And so she swerved and she ended up sideswiping one of the parked vehicles. And I looked, and there are no parking signs there, so I assume it's legal to park there. But I guess I'd like the town to consider whether that could be made a no parking spot, or signs could be erected. I think it would be a small amount of money to erect signs to, just to advise people, because the road simply isn't wide enough to accommodate the traffic, and especially at the speed. If you've ever driven there, people come whipping around the corner really fast, turning off of, you all know, off of Main and stuff like that. So, that would be my open item.
I just have a question. If all these people are attending church services and the church parking lot is full, where do we tell them to go park?
So, well, again, I don't know that we can tell them, but what I would suggest or advise them is that they would work out an arrangement with perhaps a South Street, empty parking lot on South Street or something there. And I know that walking across West Main is a dangerous thing to do. There is a crosswalk on one side, but it's dangerous. And I would suggest a shuttle of some kind, or I don't know how they would do it, but it's a fair point, Mary Jo, and I don't have a great answer for that. But at the same time, parking on the street just simply creates a hazard. And I mean, again, she's a 16-year-old girl, didn't know what else to do, and it was a head-on, and she just, ended up going in a parked car.
I think she did the right thing, right?
She did.
Avoided head-on.
Yeah, and she was very shaken up, of course, and HPD responded and took care of her, and it was all, I think it's a good outcome altogether, but, it could have been worse, and that really sparked me thinking about this particular issue.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, did you have something?
I did. So one thing I was going to mention, that that interactive spreadsheet that Tim O'Leary did last year, I thought that was a useful tool if you might have time to do that again with the updated numbers about future capital projects. Do you remember? Sheet or something?
That tool is still live, right?
Yes.
The numbers need to change.
Yes.
Every time I think of it, I have to scratch my head to the roof and then come down. That's how long
It's very long.
Exactly. It's a tool that constantly comes up in our discussions. What we were discussing, in fact, today is the observation that it does not include the enterprise funds. Now that we are talking about the MWRA connection and other projects that have been identified by the DPW team, we are thinking of how to relate that tool to the enterprise funds.
All right, a separate or something.
Yes.
Okay, and the other budget question or comment I had was, so we've often had these listening sessions and not very many people come. So, and Muriel suggested at the beginning of the meeting, I think is good because people wouldn't have to stay very long. But also if we could issue a press release or something about that so that people know. And they may not come till the preliminary budget comes out and they actually start to see some numbers, then it's easier to react, I think.
But it's a good suggestion, Amy, thank you. But we're always interested in feedback and ideas and suggestions. Appreciate that. Okay. Our next item of business is notices of taking the street acceptance. We'll consider signing the notices of taking for Fox Hollow Road and Box Mill Road in accordance with the votes under Articles 35 and 36 of the 2023 annual town meeting. Anything we need to know about that we don't already know?
It's part of the legal process that follows the order of taking that's been filed with the Registry of Deeds, and this is the second step. This notice goes out to the individuals as well.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions?
No.
All right. So I think we need to vote it. Yep.
So I would move to sign the notices of taking for Fox Hollow Road and Box Mill Road in accordance with the votes under Articles 35 and 36 at the 2023 annual town meeting.
For a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Great. I think that's that. All right, now, favorite meeting of the year. Here we go.
And you have to read them all? Or we're doing, I don't know.
So that was a desperate level of sarcasm there, but important work. Okay. Annual license renewals. The Select Board will consider renewing annual licenses for the following businesses. 12 all alcohol and associated licenses. It includes the 110 Grill, Carboni's Restaurant, Cornell's Irish Pub, Hopkinton Country Club, Co-Restaurant, Pan Thai, Bill's Pizzeria, Central Public House, Zio's, and O'Reilly Mexican Restaurant. Section 12, Club all alcohol, wine and malt and associated licenses for the Woodville Rod and Gun Club and the Spoon. Section 19C, Farmer Brewery pouring permit for Startline Brewing Company. Section 15, Package Store all alcohol, Hopkinton Wine and Spirits, Marty's Fine Wines, The Vin Bin, and Country Farm Liquor. Section 15, Package Store and Wine and Malt only, Global Montello Group at Alltown Fresh. Common Victualler License Renewal, The Spoonery, Dunkin' Donuts, The Muffin House, Aramark at Dell, 42 South Street, 176 South Street, and 228 South Street. Almost there, everybody hang in. Common Victual License Renewal, The Spoonery, Dunkin' Donuts, The Muffin House, Aramark at Dell, 42 176 South and 228 South Street, Blue Square Pizza, South Street Donuts, Starbucks at Price Chopper, Red Barn Coffee at Angels Cafe, Starbucks Coffee at 85 West Main, and Hiller's Pizza. Class 1 and Class 2 license renewals, Bulldog Fire Apparatus Incorporated, Whitehall Auto Sales Incorporated, WSAB Enterprise and Main Street Service Center, Livery and Limousine License, Able Limousine Incorporated, and Municipal Street License, Metro West Regional Transit Authority. Great. All right. So in our packet, we have all the documentation from all of those, and I think, Mr. Kamala, do we need to vote them? We can vote them in bunches, right, by category?
Correct.
It's like
Okay.
10 bunches here.
Yep, 10 bunches. And in our packet is the status as it is today for all of these renewal applications. Some of them have conditions or constraints still to be satisfied. We can vote them tonight. This is in the interest for the board and for the public. We can vote them tonight, but the licenses will not be renewed until all of those contingencies are addressed. So that's how we'll vote them, is that if we approve them, we can approve them on the condition that the contingencies are addressed prior to the issuance of the renewal of the license. All right. Is there anything else that we need to consider when we consider these?
In fact, if I may take this opportunity to recognize Vasuda's effort. He is the project manager for the licensing process.
Nice.
And this work would not be complete without her guidance as well as her coordination with the inspection teams of the town and the establishment owners. To get to the report that you have tonight takes a great deal of communication back and forth, negotiation, and also education. And thus, I want to take this opportunity to thank Vasuda, the permitting teams, as well as the board for the effort that you put into this process.
Yes, many thanks to Vasuda, because this is a Herculean enterprise to put all of this documentation together and then to track it to make sure that all the contingencies have been satisfied before the renewals are issued. Is there a deadline on all these contingencies to be satisfied? Is it the end of the year?
Yeah, we always shoot for the end of the calendar year.
Okay. And we feel like it's going to have time. Almost nobody on this list has fully satisfied their contingencies. I'm just in full. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. I have one more question, but I don't have to go first. Anybody have any questions before we start?
Well, I looked it all over, and almost every one of these is a long-time standing member of the community and has been in business here for a long time. And they all have made an effort to put forward pages of the questions asked. And like you said, not all of them have finished their contingencies, but for the most part, they look as good as they ever have.
I don't think I particularly have any questions, but I wondered if you wanted us to take turns reading them, because there's a contingencies to read.
Yes. And
you had a question, right?
Yeah, do we have to read all the contingencies? It says the motion, but
It says with contingencies, if any, list names.
It says with associated licenses noted in the summary document, group 1 pasted below, with contingencies. If any, we have to list the names and the contingencies. We have to.
Do we have to read them? Or just okay that it's just listed?
As listed.
Oh, perfect. Never
right? Yeah, thank
Okay.
goodness.
That's easier.
Okay. So they are available. It's public record, and we can just in the interest of time and efficiency, and knowing that none of these will be issued until the contingencies are satisfied. I had a question about the last serve notices. We have 2 businesses with 3 last serve notices.
So Detective Van Routen is on the room.
Oh, how do you like that? Just like that. Can we liven up Detective Van Routen? Maybe? Oh.
I tried to move him to the panelist window and he disappeared. Oh, dear. There he comes.
Oh, here he comes. All right. Listen, the vagaries of Zoom. It happens. Detective Van Routen, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. We can, yes. Thank you. You look a little ghost-like there. I have a question about the last serve, OUI last serve notices, or whatever the appropriate term is. If you can just walk the public through what that means and how we should consider them.
So the way the notices come in is if an individual is arrested for drunk driving at the courthouse at the conclusion of the case, typically the clerk or the judge will ask the individual where they had their last drink, whether it was public or private, and if it was at a public establishment, they ask for them to acknowledge which establishment it was. With that, the town receives notice of any establishments within their jurisdiction that they hold a license, that there was an individual who was arrested in the last place they were at, or that they admitted to being at was a establishment in town.
Okay, so we have 2 establishments, 3 notices. Is that unusual for Hopkinton?
That is not. The notices are not timely. There is a lapse in time from when the town receives notices. And my understanding in speaking with the chief and with the town clerk is that we haven't received any notices to date for 2023. The notices that we noted were incidents that occurred in Hopkinton that we are aware of. The notices we received from the state, the individual could have gotten arrested anywhere in the state and named an establishment in town. We only have record from our in-house system with individuals that we dealt with who, through the course of the investigation, admitted to being at a place within our town.
Okay, so these all dated, they must be dated incorrectly or dated 2023, which is why I was asking that question. So they're not 2023.
I think these are in-house, so we know. We might get more from the state later.
The notice of
Well, the ones I'm asking
the two
about.
January,
Yep,
the 2 January dates and the September date.
yep,
Okay, that is from our records.
Okay.
That is not from the state.
okay. So do we get, we would have this information next year at this time if we got any notices from the state?
Correct. You're voting on licenses that we don't have the notices from the state yet.
Okay, okay. So tell me, just last question, tell me what happens when your in-house process or the state process provides these notices or you find out this information. What's the follow-up with those businesses?
We note it if it is something that is of grave concern, which we have had in the past. We will approach the board mid-year, right after an incident, and ask for consideration or some sort of stipulation on that license where there may be multiple violations, or during our compliance checks, we noted something that was out of compliance or there was a grave violation. We don't typically try to put a business out. We want to work with them. A lot of the time their staff is either busy or they weren't aware of the laws, and it's more of an educational process than it is a punitive process.
Anybody else have any questions?
Well, I guess I'll just ask, so you do also do compliance checks randomly throughout the year, right? Where you have another opportunity to educate the staff?
We do. So we work with the ABCC, and we use some of their agents to assist us in the compliance checks. So we'll do not only establishments, but also the liquor stores and anywhere where there's alcohol that can be purchased or for sale.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we ready?
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to move to renew, you want to just, Mary Jo, let's just run down them. You take number 1.
Okay. A notice to renew. Okay. I move to renew annual licenses for the businesses in Section 12, all alcohol and associated licenses for the 110 Grill, Carboni's Restaurant, Cornell's Irish.
I think we don't have to list
You don't have to read them all. You just
Okay.
read for group 1, based on, for group 1.
Group 1. Okay, so moved. I moved it.
All right, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposition? Okay, Amy, you want to take number 2?
So number 2, I move to renew the Section 12 on-premises all alcohol beverage club license, common victual license, and entertainment license for the Woodville Rod and Gun Club with the contingencies noted.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'll move to renew the Section 12 on-premises wine and malt beverages license, common victualler license, and entertainment license for the Hopkinton Spoon.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Mary Jo, you're up.
Okay. I move to renew the annual license for Section 19C, Farmer Brewery pouring permit for the Statline Brewing Company.
It's a common victualler license and entertainment license for the Statline Brewing Company, with the contingencies noted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Okay, I move to renew the Section 15 all alcohol package store licenses with associated licenses, if any, for the following businesses. Oh, I do have to list names?
List names, see item 5 below.
Do we have to list them for this one? They are listed.
They're listed in item 5. As listed?
As listed? Okay.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. I move to renew the Section 15 wine and malt package store license for All Town Fresh. All those in favor, signify by aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, Mary Jo, number 7.
Okay. I move to renew the annual license for business in this section. Doesn't have a number. It's a common victualler license for renewal for a number of businesses here in town.
Okay, for the items listed in number 7.
Right.
Okay, with contingencies as noted.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Okay, I move to renew the Class 1 and Class 2 licenses with the contingencies noted.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? I move to renew the livery license for Able Limousine with contingencies noted.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? And I'll move the last one. I move to renew the municipal street license to the Metro West Regional Transit Authority.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay. Look at that. Thank you all. Ooh. Did we manage to get back on track on time?
Main Street.
All right, so our next item of business is the new license for Domino's Pizza at 70 Main Street. Do we expect anybody to be here tonight?
There's someone on the Zoom.
Somebody on the Zoom.
So they'll got
I'm getting a 1 minute. Wait.
there. Oh, there she comes.
All set. Mr. Kamalo, do you want to introduce this one?
It's always a great opportunity when we have a business relocating in town. I should again recognize the efforts of Vasuda, the permitting team, Julia Chan, I saw her earlier.
She's here.
Yes. Great effort in attracting this business to town, and without further ado, I'll let the board move on to the license.
Okay. I have to find it on my spot again. Okay, so it's issuing a common victualler license to the Sillel Faith Cugdag for Hopkinton Pie Incorporated Domino's Pizza, a new restaurant at 70 Main Street. Does the board have any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
70 Main Street is the Old Town Liquors building, I believe.
Mr. Doyle's old.
Yeah, I want to know if this is going to be strictly a takeout business, or what are we going to do about, I don't think there's much parking there at all.
I can't speak to how the business will be run. However, in terms of parking, as you may recall, the town did create, is it 5 or 6 parking spaces right in front of the police station? They should be available for this business.
Okay.
Okay, we do understand that it was takeout business.
Yeah, it's going to be
Takeout
mostly takeout.
and
Okay.
delivery.
To prevent someone from sitting down and eating it on a bench.
No seating. Okay, so it says pizza, delivery and carry out, it says in the application.
I mean, do you have any questions?
I guess I am just curious if it's taking up the whole first floor of the Old Town Liquors building, or if there'd be room for another business in there.
Only just one.
Oh, it just take up the whole first floor?
Yes, just the first floor.
Okay. That was just for curiosity. I don't think I have any other questions.
So just for the public, when do you plan to open?
Hopefully end of this year, beginning of January.
So soon?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I have any questions. Thank you for being here tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody want to make the motion?
Yes, I was also going to just warn that you have some stiff competition. We've got 3 other pizza places in town, so. But anyway, okay. I'll be happy to make the motion. So I move to
Thank you.
issue a common victualler license to Sillel Faith Cugdag for Hopkinton Pie, Inc., doing business as Domino's Pizza at 70 Main Street.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good luck.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yep, take care, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Mr. Kamalo, municipal aggregation. I have to find it in my packet here.
Yes, I am pleased to report to the community that we have identified a consultant. Feel free, Julia, to come forward. Yeah, we have identified a consultant to work with the community in moving forward the town meeting vote that authorized the town to create a municipal aggregation plan. The consultant that we'll be working with is Mass Power Choice.
Okay.
They were selected after interviewing 3 companies. The interview panel included Julia Chan, Dave Del Torio, and John Gelsich. As I've reported previously, this is an initiative that moves forward a legislative request by town meeting. It's taken a while for us to get here. However, I'm happy to say that we'll be joining now approximately 150 other towns and cities in Massachusetts that have adopted these plans. It's a process that will require consultation with the community, develop a plan, submit it to a state agency for approval, and then move over to implementing the application.
Great. Julia, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can just go over next steps and why we chose the consultant that we did, and then I can take any questions that you all have.
Great.
So we decided to go with Mass Power Choice. There are really only 3 consultants in the state, and they all charge the same rate, which is $1,000 per kilowatt hour. And so we weren't looking at costs, but more of outreach, accessibility, and we were also looking at the timeline for implementation. Several communities across the state have experienced difficulties moving their plan along with DPU because of some roadblocks. And so what is supposed to be a 12-month process has turned into 3 to 4 years. Mass Power Choice, however, has Paul Gromer as their CEO, who has had years of experience in the energy industry working with DPU and DOER. And so we thought that...
I think one of the microphones is not working, we discovered.
Hello, testing? Okay.
That's better.
And so we decided to go with the company who has leadership who will be able to move us, I'm so sorry, move this process along as fast as possible. And so that was an important factor. Another important factor was the outreach program. And so Mass Power Choice has live translation services as well as an online service dedicated for their clients. And so they really are community centric. They start outreach at the very beginning of their planned timeline. And so that was important for us to see. And their team is composed of 5 individuals who have had years of experience both in the energy industry as well as outreach.
All right, questions?
I'm just curious about how long it takes before we would be able to implement the aggregation plan. Does it take several months?
We were told 12 months by this company. That's keeping in mind that DPU has been taking a while to move this process along for other communities. We're hoping 12 to 15 months.
Okay.
Jill, any questions?
No, not right at this moment.
Julia, can you just tell us one thing? What's the big takeaway for the town residents to understand about why this is important and why we're doing this?
So it's a couple things. DPU has made it very clear that we cannot say that it is going to be cheaper. However, we've seen through the data that it does offer cost savings over time. The other factor is that it is very much in line with our town's goals to reach net zero. And so the benefit of aggregating on a municipal plan is that we're able to purchase Class 1 RECs, which helps us move along our energy goals and to purchase renewable energy credits. So we should see 3 different tiers. One will be a basic plan. The other one will be a budget plan that residents can drop down to. And then there will be a plan which residents can opt up to, which has a higher level of those renewable energy credits.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, and did you say they can opt out as well, right?
Yes.
So if somebody doesn't like it, they can.
And they can opt out as well. So that's an option as well. They will automatically be opt-in, but they do have the option to opt out.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions. Are we all set? Do we need to take any action for next steps, or this is just sort of updating us?
Purely updating the board, announcing to the community that this is moving forward.
Oh, I appreciate it. This is terrific news. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have 2024 annual town meeting. Fresh off the successive special town meeting, I can say that everybody that I have talked to and I have asked is in favor of those clickers. They were a tremendous success. I have not personally heard from anyone that didn't like them.
We did get an email.
We got one email that expected that we're following up on. Actually, Connor, did you follow up on it? Can you tell us about it, or? It wasn't really a complaint, but it was a concern that we didn't do both methodologies the first time that we used the clickers.
Hi there. So yes, we did receive an email that I've tried following up with the individual who brought it up. Again, it wasn't really a complaint. It was just trying to ask questions about the methodology and why we did it the way we did. Every time that I've attempted to call, I have not had luck. Our schedules have not lined up. So I keep trying. In the meantime, I know the big concern, like you were saying, Muriel, is why we didn't use both the devices and a standing vote to check the two. Part of it would be they defeat the purpose, is you'd undoubtedly get a different result with one over the other, especially if we did it like the email had requested for every vote. People who felt comfortable and confident voting anonymously would not necessarily feel as comfortable and confident voting with everyone looking at them, which is part of the pitch around this type of voting system.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, the people that I have heard from, and it was not a real serious complaint, they weren't particularly upset, but because it was such a high turnout and people were still checking in until very late, a lot of people missed the practice vote, and I think they would have, and so they didn't feel so comfortable and confident with it as, like I was there half an hour early, I felt really comfortable with the practice votes and testing. So maybe at the annual town meeting that won't be an issue. People can practice.
Yeah, and also I encourage people, so we did have 2 testing sessions ahead of the special meeting, as well as a press release that had a video guide to show how it works. So I definitely encourage anyone who isn't sure about it or wasn't sure how it worked to look at that video guide, because it actually was quite comprehensive and covered a lot of that.
I've had nothing but positive feedback about the
I've heard quite a bit of positive as well, and so I've talked with Norman about trying to make sure that we can look to offering it going forward, because it was quite a big efficiency boost as well. We saved approximately an hour worth of time just on votes with that.
Yeah, no, the voting does take a lot of time. And I've made it a point to ask different people, different age ranges, people who are new to town meeting, people who are long-standing town meeting attendees, and so far people have liked it a lot. So certainly more efficient, which is not necessarily always the right thing, but also sometimes it is the right thing. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
We need to find a way to add that to the budget, I guess, then.
I was just going to say, well, that's the next question is
You'll hear about it in my proposal.
Okay.
Okay.
When you do your budget.
To research and get underway. Okay. Excellent. So we also want to make sure we say, we have a selected group of people that we talk to. If people went to town meeting and have feedback on it, this is the time to make sure you send it in and you let us know how you feel about it. Pro or con, be honest, tell us what you think. Okay. And then now is the time we talk about potential articles for town meeting, including any general bylaw changes. I had one that I wanted to propose adding as a discussion, and that is an article to empower non-U.S. resident voters who live in Hopkinton to be able to vote on town matters at town meeting, special town meeting, and vote in town elections.
What kind of people?
Non-citizens.
Non-U.S. citizens who live in Hopkinton.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been asking for that, so I think it would be worth bringing to town meeting and see how the public feels.
Yep.
But my understanding is, though, that it couldn't actually happen until the legislature approves something, and other towns have tried to bring it forward, but...
The legislature hasn't taken action?
Correct.
Okay, so we can do our part.
And we would test the temperature of if people want that or not?
Yep, yep. And then if people are interested in it, we can also do our part to try and advocate at the legislative level as well. So I think if people feel strongly about it, the more towns that get on board, the more
right, the more likely
more emphasis for the legislature to take action on it will help.
I want to encourage more people to get their citizenship to vote.
Yeah, I think that
would really put something out there and really somehow encourage people to get their citizenship, but just to give them this without that, it's not encouraging the citizenship part of it.
I don't necessarily agree, but we can have that conversation as it plays out and we can research. But definitely want to hear from people, including everybody on the board, how they feel. I'm certainly a big fan of citizenship for people who can and want to pursue citizenship. So I wouldn't want to do anything to impede that, but in my opinion, this doesn't impede that. But anyway, that's one of my suggestions for annual town meeting, and I know it's going to take some research and plenty of discussion, and I hope we hear from residents on how they feel about it as this plays out. Anybody else have particular suggestions?
I don't think I have any general bylaw suggestions this year. The staff had not come up with any that would recommend.
Do we have any? No wording changes?
No.
Okay. So just so people have a picture of what's coming next, as we're entering into the busy season to prepare for town meeting and the budget season. On the 14th, the select board will be meeting with the school committee and the appropriations committee in a joint meeting for a budget update that includes the school department at their regular meeting. We will also be entertaining the applicants to replace Holly Morand, who recently resigned. As far as I know, we have 4 applicants so far, but that may not be the latest and greatest. So we will have a joint meeting for that appointment on that night as well. December 19th, 2 weeks from tonight, we will vote to open the annual town meeting warrant on January 7th. Which is approximately 120 days, or is 120 days before annual town meeting. And then also by that date, the town manager completes the municipal services budget review. So just a little snapshot of what is coming next. And so we will be, I know we will be talking about the budget and all the component pieces for as many meetings as we have between now and town meeting. All right, anybody else have anything about the schedule upcoming, or?
I wanted to highlight for residents too that the citizens petitions would be due February 6th, it looks like. So obviously it's best if you can go through a board or a committee, but if you're wanting to do a citizens petition, plan ahead for February 6th.
Yep, appreciate that. And just to have it on your radar, the school committee votes their FY25 budget January 18th, so they are in active discussions and listening to their department heads. So certainly follow those meetings to be updated on those items, and then the town manager will submit a consolidated budget to this board on January 23rd. So Budget season is upon us. It's official. Okay. All right. The next item of business is the town manager report.
Yeah, through the chair, beginning with the Main Street Corridor project, you may have noticed some activity at the Main Street intersection. We also have received feedback from the community regarding a higher than usual number of cars that are using side streets. So, going back to the activity at the Main Street intersections, we have asked VHB to assess how the new signals are operating and also find ways to bring the traffic back to the intersection and away from the side streets. That requires some counts to be conducted, and based on those counts, we'll be having some discussions with regard to how we should manage the signal timings and also the traffic patterns and volumes that are developing along Main Street.
So are we suggesting that people are noticing that people are avoiding the intersection at Main and Grove and...
Yes, it may have been due to the construction work.
Okay.
Yeah. And we want to monitor that. We want to respond to those concerns.
All right, so we're doing another traffic study for Main Street for the intersection and side street usage?
Correct. It's doing traffic counts.
I distinctly remember our traffic consultant telling us that some of those intersections were simply not problems when we did the Main Street Corridor project.
So we, again, responding to public inquiries as well as committing to fulfilling our commitment to continuously monitor the operation of the corridor.
Okay. Okay. Have there been specific problems, accident rates, or things like that?
No, we have not noticed that.
Okay. We did have one of our pieces of mail is from a resident who is concerned about signaling at crosswalks at several locations. Is that part of the concern?
Yeah, I think with regard to the crosswalks, the main issue has been around, are they active or not? There's an expectation by members of the public who walk up to a cross point and they see the signal that it's operational. But due to
the ones that aren't operational. Yeah, I think that.
So right now, only half of them are working.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially this one at Town Hall used to work, so it's been confusing, I think, for people that know it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But that email we got was more about on Hayden Row and Grove further up toward the school at night, not during peak traffic.
Yeah.
But luckily, we voted in one already for the corner of Pleasant and Grove at town meeting last year. We're just waiting for it to be installed. So one of the specific ones he asked about
is there.
Or not, no.
It will be there.
Will be there.
It is underway. Yep.
Should have asked Dave. Maybe he does.
Yeah.
Yes, and in fact, I also remember that Dave is hoping to recycle some of the cross lights that were on Main Street.
They're not needed anymore. Okay.
Yes, to other locations in town.
Okay. So I have a question, just specifically. If we're doing a traffic study and we had a specific citizen's concern also about crosswalks and so forth, is that going to just all be wrapped in together? Can we ask that whole bigger question?
Yeah, we can ask the consultants. However, again, to be clear, what we're doing in terms of traffic is simply doing the counts.
We're just counting right now. And where are we counting?
This is Wood Street, Pleasant, Cedar, and Hayden Row, where they intersect Main Street.
Thank you.
Street Pleasant. Yeah, all the usual suspects. All right, so that's just to sort of measure side street usage versus the central intersection.
And if the signal timings are correct, I believe.
Yeah, the signal is part of this.
Right, there's only the one signal, right?
Well, the Wood Street too. Yeah.
Oh, Wood Street.
That's the complaint I think I have heard too, that the Wood Street one isn't timed quite and so that it's backing up on Main because people can't move through Wood, and so the people are people on Grove Street coming from the schools needing to turn left, but they can't turn left because there's no room for their car to fit on Main. That's a complaint I've heard. I don't drive in that area at that time of day.
At that time, okay.
But it's possible that fixing the single timing.
Okay, so both of those signals are going to be looked at in terms of timing and efficiency.
Yes.
That should, listen to me, I'm going to say something foolish because it'll turn out to be wrong. That should be an easy fix if the signaling is not appropriate.
In the past, or in my experience, it takes several iterations of adjustments.
There are traffic engineers, right? These are folks with, okay, all right.
To outsmart people's behavior. People then we adjust the signal, people adjust.
Yeah, no,
the behavior,
yeah, I understand. Okay, all right. Okay, so thanks for the update. Good. I'm okay.
PFAS.
So that'll be on a regular work day.
Okay.
7 to 7. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Based on information that we received this afternoon, the first sentence in my report is no longer correct. The contractor has indicated that they will be extending the project to April 2024.
Oh dear.
Okay. 3 months. 3 months out. Okay.
We're all very eager to get that completed.
Yep.
In April.
Yep. And when the project is completed, what can the public expect at that point?
At that point, that the PFAS readings will be lower than the regulated thresholds.
Right, because the filtering system will be operational.
Yes.
In April of 2024.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, which is, not to overemphasize, far quicker than the whole Main Street corridor signaling correction thing. All right, here we go. Water Resources Authority.
Yes, recently there was an interview of the technical teams bringing together Southborough and Hopkinton to review the conceptual drawings for the project, and the focus was on the 7 key elements of the project. These include the Southborough water mains, the Hopkinton water mains, Oak Hill and Overlook tank projects, Boston Road PRV, Sassenstone pump station, Hosmer and Boylan pump station upgrades, and then the Hopkinton pump station. We also have had Tim O'Leary reach out to John Butler. John Butler and I have exchanged messages. As recent as today, we tried to connect. However, our goal is to get Tim and John to agree on the business terms of the IMA, and then we'll have the legal teams get that into some draft form for consideration by both Hopkinton and Southborough.
Okay. So the big moving piece is the IMA.
Yes.
And we can, what is the timeline and what is the expected process, just for the public to understand? The boards will sign, each of the 2 boards will sign those IMAs? After legal review?
After the legal review and agreement on the key terms.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Also, we are moving forward the conceptual drawings. The conceptual drawings will define and identify the scope and scale of the project. I should also mention that this week I was in contact with DCR, and they have indicated their objections to the town's request to locate a booster pump station on their property. However, I have learned from town staff that back in the 80s, they did authorize the town to locate some water infrastructure on DCR land. However, my thinking is perhaps the law has changed since the 80s.
Where's that DCR property that we're talking about?
Off 85, Hopkinton State Park.
Hopkinton State Park. Okay. So they have notified us that they don't like that idea, and we're researching past agreements
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Their position is that locating a pump station on this island would be inconsistent with the law.
Inconsistent with the law?
Yes.
Oh, but we might have a past agreement. Okay.
Okay.
Not at this location, but at another location.
Oh, so precedent.
Yes.
I see. Okay, all right. And that, that pump station on DCR property at the state park, that's on the critical path, or we have options?
The engineers are suggesting this is the preferred route, but if push comes to shove, there will be an alternate.
Okay, all right. I just figured there's always got to be discussion about what the backup strategy is if we hit a stone wall. Okay. That's excellent. The only question I want to ask is occasionally I get communications from my counterpart in Southborough. I just want to make sure that I'm not leaving anything undone, and if you need anything from me, you'll let me know.
Yes. Let me connect with John Butler. Most likely he will have some feedback for us.
Okay, great. Great, good job. I know that the town is very eager for that solution as well, so. Okay. Any questions, Amy?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Thank you for that. And Mary Jo's not here. Okay, so moving on. We received a letter asking us, from Hop News, asking us about our policies and procedures, my words here.
Time out?
Yeah.
We don't have a quorum.
Oh, we can't. Oh, we can't even.
We have a majority of members present, but I'll wait.
Well, we can't vote.
I'll wait.
There's nothing to vote on, right?
Yeah, there isn't anything to vote on, but. Thanks, Mary Ellen. Mary Jo, you've never been more missed.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, it's good to be missed, I guess.
There you go. There you go. So we are on item 14, the question from Hop News about these are my words, I'm paraphrasing, our policies, procedures on using local news venues for advertising, specifically in terms of how we choose who we use and payment for those.
Yes, we did reach out to the town council for guidance on this issue, and clearly there are two issues raised in the request from Hop News. First has to do with required notices. Per Mass General Law, in fact, Chapter 30B, publishing that is required, that requires notices to be posted, is not, if the medium is exclusively online news, that would not meet the 30B requirements. Which then brings me to the second component of the question. There are discretionary notices that are not required by law. And in this case, yes, the town may consider advertising on online sources. That will then be based on best business practices. What that might mean is the board taking into consideration the circulation as well as the qualities that the board might be looking for in an entity hosting the town's notices. So in summary, if the notice is required by law, we have to comply with the three components that are namely that it has to be a newspaper's print publication, a newspaper's website, and on a state website. In the instance where the print publication doesn't have its own website, we are therefore required to post on the state website. That's for, again, notices that are required by law.
Okay.
For notices that are discretionary, like advertising an event, the town may consider online media.
And just to fill out the conversation, how has it been decided in the past? Is there a policy? Do we have a policy? Or
For the discretionary.
for the discretionary?
Yes, I don't believe the board has set a policy for that.
Yeah.
I remember many conversations with Bob Falcioni. He has raised this issue before.
Okay.
But again, it's individual boards deciding how to post their notices.
Okay, so individual boards, committees, or events that are town-related make their own choices?
That's the practice.
That's the practice.
Yes.
Okay. And if it's under a certain number, they don't need to go out to bid, I guess, right? If it's just a small one-time event?
Yeah, again, if we separate between the required notices
Yep.
and the discretionary notices, we haven't done an estimation, but I think the discretionary notices will be less than 10,000. However, my advice is always follow the best business practices.
Do we, I suppose we could find out what other towns do? Maybe we could do a little like that.
Yeah, I have a question too, because it says request for proposals for all future advertising campaigns. Now, what do we do for advertising campaigns as a town?
Possibly Parks and Rec, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, please.
Sure.
So, hi, Peter Thomas, publisher of Hop News. So the town does invest a significant amount of money in advertising campaigns. These tend to be ad hoc, like an expo the Sustainable Green Committee is going to host, or Parks and Rec, register your kid for this program, those kinds of things. And so these ads are designed presumably in conjunction currently with the team at the Hopkinton Independent, and they basically, the town basically purchases that, and it is true and correct that the committees are largely empowered to do that. However, I think while the dollars may be small relative to other projects, certainly we don't just empower any committee in town to make whatever vendor selection they want to make. Presumably there is some larger process that would be involved when spending municipal funds.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, and I wanted to add too, I share this at work a lot too, about social media use by adults in the U.S. And I'm wondering if we also do any advertising on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, or I think that is something we should consider too, because like YouTube is the most popular advertising platform across demographics, with Facebook being the second. And I think for any online advertising, I hope we would consider that. They both offer really hyper-local targeting of ads to people who live in Hopkinton. You can choose that, or you could choose Hopkinton and surrounding towns if it was something that was open to non-residents. So.
Okay, so I don't necessarily think that we were going to decide anything tonight, but I appreciate the information. Appreciate you, Peter. And I think it's worth looking at. It does seem like we don't have a choice for the required notices, however. That seems to be pretty established. Okay. We're going to move on. Next item of business is liaison reports. Mary Jo? Mary Jo?
Yep, liaison reports. I went to Marathon Committee meeting, and our thing is, They are very concerned about the logo, their logo, that they had registered with the state. It All Starts Here logo. Because it's come to their attention that someone else on the other side of the country wants to use a similar logo. And it's registered here in Massachusetts. It belongs to the Marathon Committee only. And you should go through them if anybody wants to use it, or they shouldn't use it at all. But it's come to their attention, and they've been advised that they really need to have it done nationally, registered nationally. It's going to cost some money. It's going to cost $500 or so, maybe even a little more, and they can't raise any money. So I was just wondering, does the town have a way of, wanting them to have the logo and have it under their jurisdiction? And is there a way to raise that $500 for them, or it's right around there to get this done? Because once the town loses it, or the Marathon Committee loses it, it's lost. We'll never get it back.
So could they, as a committee, submit that for the budget?
Well, they're not allowed to have a budget. They're a service committee.
Wait, the town committee? Or?
Can they submit a bill?
Not a bill, but a request.
My understanding is there's a question that has been posed that we can pursue administratively. Yes. Namely, there was a registration of some logo in some form. And the question being asked is, can the town register that logo nationally? You can ask town council. Is that the question?
It's really difficult because it is the Marathon Committee's logo as far as the state of Massachusetts is concerned. And I actually think they've been lending it out too much to too many people, and they should pull it in a bit. And that is one of the ways you lose your logo, is when you do allow other people to use it. And I don't want to see Hopkinton lose that It All Starts Here logo. And it should be the Marathon Committee that has it, huh?
Right, which is part of the town, right?
Yes.
Yes, and Norman saying he could look into it, what the process and how much it is, right?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We want the money, that's all.
So what's the resolution? Are we going to ask the question to have the town look into doing it?
Norman's going to look in to see how we can do it for the committee, because once it's gone. So, and we don't want it. It's been our logo for quite a long time. I mean, Tom Cardulo and Cookie Cumlin and those guys put a lot of time and effort into making it, and we want to keep it.
Okay. Anything else, Mary Jo?
No, not right now. I've had a cold and I haven't gone out to too many meetings, so.
Yeah, I had a couple of things. For Zach and the planning board, they're working really hard on this MBTA community tax zoning that they would like to bring to town meeting in May 2024. Zach has been working really hard on it. People could listen to their meetings online or request. They have a draft map that they keep updating at each meeting, but we'll be required to come into compliance by December 2024. So if we don't pass something in May, we might have to try for a special town meeting. And anyway, I would encourage everybody to listen in and understand it. They could still go through some changes before town meeting.
So I asked this a little bit earlier, but approximately how many meetings for Zach might people have to sort of sort through to find? I'm going to do that.
I think there was one September, 2 October, 1 November.
So they've been talking about the whole time.
Yeah, that's been their big main focus.
Yes, okay.
And it is a very complex topic. But I think John Gilsuch also has documents he could forward to anyone who's interested. That would explain and have the draft map.
Great.
Yeah. And then Commission on Disability did not get very many survey responses, so they're going to keep that open for another week till the 15th, I believe. So I would encourage everybody to fill that out. And even if someone doesn't have a disability themselves, but they have a family member or household member that has a disability, it would be helpful for them to fill it out on their behalf if that's better.
Okay, great. I have a quick update on the fire chief search. The assessment process has taken place. We have a meeting actually of the hiring committee Thursday, I think at noon. And we will review the results of that assessment process, and then soon after be forwarding recommendations to the select board for final interviews and a decision.
Because I think the public has been eagerly awaiting.
Yep. That process has been ongoing in a straightforward way. It's just not necessarily. It's not in the public eye until we have finalists.
No, you updated us just 2 meetings ago, so I think.
It's just. No, it's
not everybody watches the meetings.
Yes, yeah. I also wanted to say that the menorah lighting this year is on Thursday night at 6 on the town common. Thinking that this year in particular, with so much conflict on all sides, whoever is feeling like they want to stand up and support folks that are in struggle, that it would be nice to support and attend the menorah lighting. That's 6 p.m. on Thursday. Also on Thursday, happily and also unfortunately, Weston Nurseries had the Chambers having an event, but it's very happy news and really an incredible anniversary. Weston Nurseries will be celebrated and are celebrating 100 years in business in Hopkinton. So there's an event at Weston Nurseries that the Chamber is holding from 5 to 7 on Thursday. And we congratulate Weston Nurseries in the most wholehearted way. The investment, it's not just their business, it's their family and the contributions that they make to the town and the greater community. It's all been incredible, and it kind of is mind-boggling that it's 100 years in Hopkinton. I remember when I moved here, there was 2 businesses that people knew of when I moved here. One was Carboni's. My folks had gone to Carboni's when they dated. Holy smokes. And the other was Weston Nurseries. People came from all over and still do come from all over for Weston Nurseries.
No, I agree. Even my relatives in the Midwest knew of Weston Nurseries because it was on this old house.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Also wanted to just let the public know that the all hands meeting was held. It was very successful. Town departments gave brief updates, and we also did a little precursor exercise. It was just really to illustrate the exercise about the upcoming strategic planning. So more to come on strategic planning, but we will certainly hope that public and stakeholders across the town will invest themselves in that strategic planning process. Hoping to build the next strategic plan to take us at least 5 years, but looking out, I'm sure, past 5 years. And then I think the only other thing that I wanted to say is that we know that Mr. Kamala will be leaving for an incredible opportunity, it sounds like, after a very long and dedicated and a career that has invested himself in many towns, but certainly Hopkinton has benefited for these last, is it 14 or 15 years, Mr. Kamala?
15.
15 years. I had sort of a little bit of a unique perspective in that I was on this board when we transitioned to town manager form of government. It was a big discussion. It followed a long process. It didn't happen overnight. And there's many years of study committees and discussions. And the big thrust behind that whole conversation was that Hopkinton was no longer a small town, and we needed a more professional form of government. And I have watched as an interested voter and as a participant in the process how you have transformed town government in Hopkinton in many substantial, sustainable, and meaningful ways. And when I say sustainable, by the way, that's like my key piece is that processes as they're laid down and put into place that can really durably last and be built on are really the gift to the town over time. So I wanted to tell you that I individually and personally appreciate your contributions, and certainly as a member of this board and a member of this community, I want to make sure you know how much we have appreciated you over time, how much we wish you and your family all the very best, and we look forward to working with you over the next several weeks or whatever time that is to make sure the transition is smooth and steady for Hopkinton.
Meryl stated that very, very well, but I do want to add, just even looking at the budget calendar, I can't imagine going through it the following year without you. So, yeah, you've really ingrained yourself in the town and the processes and everything going on at Town Hall. So you'll be sorely missed. Hopefully you'll stay a while longer.
Thank you.
All right. I think, we have future board agenda.
I'll say thank you.
Oh. Did you want to say something, Mary Jo? I'm sorry.
No, I told them I'm not speaking to him right now.
Oh, you know.
But when I do, I'll say thank you.
Put it off.
I see. I see. I don't blame you. I'm a little salty about it myself. Does anybody want, the future board agenda items are really Shahadool, so I don't think that we need to spend a lot of time on them, but hopefully we will discuss those sooner rather than later. Do you want to add one?
Yeah. Sorry, we've gotten a couple emails about dogs recently, so I didn't know if we might want to add something about that. More just, because I know we tried a bylaw for the leash law to be 24 hours last year that did not work, but maybe we could approach a different way with awareness or about rules about dogs and why some people don't want you to walk your dog off leash that might jump at them.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because I meant to, and I forgot it. So taking a note to put that on the agenda.
Yeah.
But what is our response when people reach out about dog events that are problematic? I know that I think the emails mentioned that they contacted the police. Is that, or notified the police?
Yes, we have a dog officer.
Yeah.
We have instances where the requests go directly to the dog officer. However, after hours, there are requests that may have to come through the police department.
I see.
However, we're always inviting the public to reach out to us when there are instances where public safety may be threatened by some animal. And also we realize that dogs mean so much for members of our community, and therefore we stand ready to assist when called upon. However, there may be instances where we may not be able to return a phone call, but we try and do so within 24 to 48 hours.
Okay. Do we know, I only see one recently, do we know if, or one in our packet, do we know if we have closed the circle on that email?
Yeah, Elaine, feel free to jump in here. My understanding is, with regard to the most recent correspondence to the board, we are reaching out to the parties to see if we can have an informal sit down.
Great, great. Okay.
There was one earlier the one most recently was about someone whose dog knocked them down.
Yes.
And then there was one before that about a nuisance dog that was barking all night, I think, too.
The barking dog is being followed up by Bill Proctor is following up, working with the dog owner to try to mitigate that issue. And then if that doesn't work, it would come to the board.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I don't remember that one. My apologies. Okay. All right. So a future agenda item to talk about possible options, possibilities, and this would be an invitation for feedback from the community, both dog lovers and dog lovers who also have concerns, and folks who may not be dog lovers but have concerns. So whoever has an opinion on what we can do to help the community with dogs that are problematic at times, we are welcoming that feedback.
I'd like to check the dog laws, because it does seem like, well, since I've been on the board, we have passed changes in the dog laws or rules and regulations at town meetings, so I just want to make sure they're carried out.
The
There's no leash law at night. There's no leash law at night.
But it's still not legal for a dog after 9 PM to like to knock someone over, right? That's still, yeah. They are not required to be leashed.
Also, the TCMC is doing some work to pull together data. I had forgotten that, and I'm rereading the email.
For dogs on trails, yeah.
For dogs on trails, but also it's historical data on dog incidents only on trails or globally. I mean, it would be worth asking. If they have some data and looking to build an educational outreach about issues related to dog ownership. So anyway, if they do have data, it would be interesting to make sure we get it.
Yeah.
All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Do we have a million things to sign, or
Just a few. All the licenses? Or?
Do we sign the licenses now?
No.